Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So, putting this video up for a couple of reasons. First of all, to let you know I'm still here and still plan on doing a lot of projects and showing you everything we can as we go. So first off, the 69 Dart floral top car, don't worry. I did not complete the restoration, get it all done, and forget to film it. Truth is, it really hasn't seen much action. Short of being used as kind of a classroom to teach one of my boys the joys of old drum brakes, where we rebuilt the master cylinder and a bunch of frozen wheel cylinders so that we could take the car for a couple of hot laps around the yard. We really haven't done much. It's been really busy this year and we've got a lot of things going. And the plan to absolutely blow the car apart and really dive into it and get busy, the timeline for that, we were supposed to do that about 6 weeks ago, and we're still not there. I've got one more project to get out of the way first for the day job that will free up space and time to actually dive into that car. So that is coming. And I do expect to kick out a video diving back into the Dart and kind of going over the whole car and looking at the things we're going to do with it pretty soon. And start talking about the details of the restoration and what kind of depth we're going to do with it. But back to the holdups. One of the things that I'm doing for the day job is the boss picked up a 2000-ish Ford Super Duty pickup. And he has quite a few of them. And they're pretty much all running around with the engines I built for him as they failed. And the newest one is a V10 truck. And he got it pretty cheap, a good deal, with a supposedly rebuilt engine, and it didn't run real well. The neat part was that it came with a spare engine and transmission. If that's not foreshadowing, I don't know what is. But the reality is, it ran terribly, and it found out it had a couple of low compression cylinders, one with none and one with a handful of pounds. So it wasn't running right. So in order to keep that truck mobile, so we can move it around the yard and whatnot, I decided let's go ahead and check the spare engine out and just do a swap. Well, of course, the spare engine, it had dead holes as well. So I opted to go ahead and rebuild that one, basically freshen it, and then just do the swap to save time. So that leads us into today's video. I don't know if you can tell, but we have a set of V10 heads here. So for all you Mopar guys that are following this channel, I apologize. This is for those Ford folks out there that have any of those modular engines from the late 90s into, gosh, I don't know, 2010, somewhere in there. If you have a 4.6, a 5.4, or one of the V10s, the whole Triton family, this one's for you. This year has been exceptionally busy. A lot of things both on the work front and the family front have kept me really busy. A big one, I've actually sent 2 kids off. I now have 2 kids in the service in uniform. Immensely proud. But the processes, getting things going, takes a lot of time, weeks and weeks of time. Plus, I did have to sneak off to, I did catch one of the boot camp graduations in Great Lakes, which was fantastic. And I became a grandpa again. So it's amazing. I'm obviously not complaining. Family is fantastic. Being a grandpa is amazing. Never thought it would happen. Never expected I'd get this old, but here we are. So yeah, it's been very busy, and it's kept me from being here with you doing that. But hopefully soon, after we deal with this project, we'll have the time and space to dive into that. Although we do have what looks like a location change and a different shop coming in the next couple of months. So that may further hijack the time that we get to dive into that. But we'll see. We're just kind of winging it right now and crossing our fingers that before summer's over, we will be very, very deep into this stuff. So let me say first off, I am not sponsored. I have no affiliation with the company or the tool that I'm going to mention. I didn't get it at a discount, anything like that. I just know that the job I'm about to talk about, there are quite a few different ways, quite a few different products, and levels of quality that are out there to do this job. And I wanted to pass on what I am pretty sure is the absolute best tool and best way to do this job. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Well, for starters, anybody that's familiar with the Triton engines, whether it be 4.6, 5.4, or the V10, they are known for popping spark plugs out. There's not a lot of thread engagement, and they do blow their plugs out. So there are a lot of different companies and different widgets, whether it be inserts, special spark plug, all sorts of different ways to do it. So there are variations of this kit, but the majority of them have much thinner inserts, and I just don't like them. I like the beefiness of the inserts with this kit. So unless you are absolutely broke down on the side of the road somewhere, and it's Sunday and you're in the middle of nowhere and there's only one part store open and all they have is something like, okay, we're gonna cover the brand, I don't want to get in trouble. Do not, I mean, look at this. There's a special spark plug in here. I don't know, now you have to go buy a bunch of these. This is funky. But like I said, unless you're desperate to get home and you're in the middle of nowhere on a Sunday afternoon, this is not the way to go. Do not do this. In my opinion, after having side of the road quick fixed using some of the other methods and then ponying up and getting this tool, this, in my opinion, is the only way to go. So this is the Calvan 38900. Let's see if we can get. You might have to trust me on that part number because it just doesn't want to focus today. But anyway, Calvan 38900. And what it consists of is a reamer, a tap, a guide for the reamer and the tap, and sets of inserts. Now it also comes with an air widget to ensure that the piston is down, valves are closed, etc., so you don't have an oops while you're performing the job. Today, I'm going to do a quickie walkthrough with the head since I have them on the bench. So obviously right now that's not necessary. So we're going to walk you through one of these holes real quick just to kind of give you an idea of how quick and easy this kit is. So first step, grab your guide, grab your reamer. And to get a little bit of oil on the wear surface, using Lucas is probably a little bit of an overkill, but so be it. Take your guide, drop it in your plug hole, and it's going to want to rotate a little bit until it locks in place. Maybe a little bit of lighter oil like PB on the cutting side of the reamer, and wiggle it down into place. Now, your tool takes a 1/2-inch socket, so I just went ahead and grabbed my Milwaukee 1/2-inch impact and just let it do the job. And you're going to run it down until the pin on the tool bottoms out on the guide. That way you know you're all the way through. Now pull your reamer out. You see it's covered in a lot of chips, and there's quite a few down here in the bottom. Take that, set it aside for cleaning. Well, of course you're probably going to do more holes, but let's just focus on this one for now. Get all the shavings flushed out and the hole cleaned up. Now next, you're going to grab your tap, and again grab your guide, and it won't drop through this way. So you have to insert it from the top, and then there's a clip included. I put tape over it because I just felt like somehow I was going to lose it. And then this just snaps on at the upper groove. You can see there's two grooves here, and it goes to the upper one. Now that you have this assembled, again, a little oil doesn't hurt, just to keep the guide from becoming worn prematurely. But I still think it'll probably last a lifetime unless you do these every day. A little more oil on the threads of the tap. Obviously motor oil. Obviously you have cutting fluid handy. That's definitely the way to go. And then you drop it down again into your hole, and you'll run this tap down all the way until again the clip bottoms against the guide. You can choose to do this by hand, but with a little bit of experience, you can use a tool, impact, an air ratchet, or an impact, and it'll work just fine. So let's give this a shot. I like to go in and out a few times instead of trying to push it all the way through. And again, pull it out, set it aside, and again, yep. Once your hole's clean and you're ready for the next step, get yourself a little bit of JB weld. Not the quick set style. It is not recommended by the tool manufacturer. Get yourself a little JB mixed up, okay? And we're going to grab one of your inserts, and it does come 8 with your first kit, all right? And then literally, I don't think you have to get too carried away with this, but make sure to get your threads coated rather well. Obviously I could be doing all 5 of these at once, but I didn't have the foresight to do that when I started the video, so we're just doing one at a time here. I'll go back and finish the rest later. Okay, once you've got your insert fully coated, set it aside. Grab yourself a spark plug. These are NGKs. They're kind of my personal favorite, back from my 2-stroke 3-wheeler days. I just have always personally preferred those because they just didn't really ever foul when they should have. But again, that's not super important here. That's personal choice, obviously. I like to make sure these are well coated. All right. And then thread your plug into your insert. Of course, make sure to get the JB all over your fingers like I did, because who wouldn't? And then it's just a matter of running your spark plug with the insert down into your hole. So let's grab a socket. And then just run it into place. About 30 foot-pounds is a nice snug fit. And you're not going to have any issues getting your spark plug back out of the insert once the JB is set. So at this point, you are done. And here is your finished product. A very thick, very sturdy insert. My only slight concern is that the inserts do extend into the chamber slightly, but I think that they're thick enough and they don't protrude enough that they would ever create an issue with causing a hot spot, leading to detonation, or any kind of shrouding of the spark plug. I am considering pulling the plug out once the JB is dry and smoothing those down a little bit, getting them more flush with the casting inside the chamber. But at the same time, I'm also a little terrified of getting a cutter in there because Murphy's Law is a thing, and if the cutter ever bounces, we know it's going to land right on the fire ring surface of the head gasket on these freshly decked heads. So that's kind of an iffy thing. I will say that I do have one engine out there where I did all 8 of these in the truck, and we've never experienced any kind of weird detonation issues or anything like that. So it's probably not an issue. I have another truck that has about half of the holes done in it. It started out as a side of the road kind of repair, and we've never gone back to do the rest of them. But again, like I said, we've never ever seen any knocking or detonation problems, so probably a non-issue. Now, there's one other issue with doing this, and that's all that material. If you are doing this job while the heads are on the engine in the vehicle, all of that is going to end up in the cylinder. And there's a couple of schools of thought about how to deal with that. I think they both have pros and cons, and they're both valid. One is to use the reamer dry or with just a hint of light oil. And so all the shavings, when they drop down into the cylinder, they will be clean and dry. The other is to pack the reamer and the tap with grease so that they catch, that all the shavings are caught on the tool when you withdraw it. The downside of that is that if any shavings do drop, now they will likely have grease on them and they will stick to the piston or the cylinder wall and be harder to get out. And unless you have a borescope after you use your preferred method of getting that junk out of the cylinder, it's almost impossible to know for sure that you got it all. There's different ways, using a vacuum and getting some smaller, say, fuel line size tube that'll fit down in the hole and vacuuming it all out. I've heard of squirting a liberal amount of brake clean in there and then just spinning the engine over and letting the liquid help propel the shavings out of the cylinder. That's just, we're going to leave that one up to you. You'll have to kind of decide on your own what your preference is and what your chosen method of getting the junk out of the cylinder is going to be doing this job, if it's assembled. But I would certainly say that you have your heads off your vehicle and you have not experienced a plug blowout, this might be worth doing beforehand to save you the trouble. It's really quick. You can do both heads on an engine on a bench, gosh, in under an hour and you're done. Real quick, real easy. And with the plethora of cheesier, funkier, cheap fixes, I'm going to recommend this one. The inserts are thicker, they're more solid. The tools that they give you will probably last you a lifetime of doing this job, short of you being, literally a Ford Triton mechanic that does nothing else. You're looking at a couple $100 for the kit and 8 inserts. After that, you have to buy replacements. But this just gets my 2 thumbs up as the best tool and the best way to solve this problem. So there you go. There's my 2 cents on Ford stuff for the day. Thanks for watching, and good luck. We'll see you again soon when we get to talk about the Dart a little more. Oh, hey, one quick final note on this kit. I did mention the part number of it, but I do believe there is a different kit with a similar but different part number. I'm not a Ford guy. I don't remember, because I've had this kit a while now, but there's a different kit, and I think maybe the kit is different for 3-valve engines. Don't quote me. But before you run out and buy a kit, if you go out and buy this tool, please double check with the manufacturer and go through their list of different tools to make sure that you get the right one for your urine application, so that you're not mad at me when you get the wrong one. Please don't do that. Please do your research. Don't go off the part number I gave you, please. Okay, that's it. That's disclaimer over.